Do you have concerns or problems about the school? Pag may dilema, huwag mag-alala.
Sabihin sa sanggo. Pag may dilema, huwag mag-alala.
Locate our boxes around campus and simply fill out the forms in the stations. Drop them in the box and boom, you're done. You can also fill out our forms online.
Sabihin sa sanggo.
This is a service brought to you by your Sanggu. Pag may problema, huwag mag-alala.
Radyo Katipunan, 87.9 FM. Radyo Katipunan, news, insights, inspiration. Radyo Katipunan, down from the hill and down to the world. Radyo Katipunan, the voice of the Blue Eagle.
Calling on all young male professionals. Do you wish to live an extraordinary life? Are you tired of the routine and mundane and long for a dynamic, adventurous, and even dangerous life? Do you wish to make your life count and hope to make an impact long after you're gone? Do you wish to live a life of service to society, to country, and to dear Mother Earth? Then you are the one we are looking for. Consider the Society of Jesus. Join the church's gallant army and turn your world upside down. Call the Jesuits Vocations Promotions Team 426-6101, local 3406. Once again, 426-6101, local 3406.
Meron? Ano nga ba ang meron? Paano nga bang mabuhay ng tapat sa meron? Don't you wish you can relive your philo classes? The terror teachers? The terrible oral exams? Or the even terrifying but liberating and life-changing aha moments? Lundagin mo, baby! Here's your chance! Lundagin mo, baby! Kasama ang mga pilosopong sina Jovi Miroy at Ron Capinding. Lundagin mo, baby! Leaping upward, leaping forward. Lundagin mo, baby! Leaping to greater heights, to greater wisdom, to greater magis. Lundag na, Ateneo! Radyo Katipunan, news, insights, inspiration. Radyo Katipunan, down from the hill and down to the world. Radyo Katipunan, the voice of the Blue Eagle. Tara na't simulan ng inyong umaga sa mga magagandang refleksyon tungkol sa ating buhay at pananampalataya. Kasama sina Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle, Father J. Boy Gonzales at Father Nono Alfonso ng Kapisanan ni Jesus, Father Cali Llamado ng Manila Cathedral at Binibining Risa Singson Kaupeng ng Light of Jesus Community dito sa Kapit Pandasal sa Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM.
Minsan ba ay nakipagdiskusyon ka na rin? Tandaan, magpaliwanag, huwag mang-away. Ito po si Father Cali mula dito sa Manila Cathedral. Halina po at magkapet pandasal. Siguro ay nakipagdiskusyon na rin kayo madalas sa ibang tao. Ano ang nangyari? Nagkasundo rin ba kayo? O nagkaaway? Ang pag-uusap o diskusyon ay naglalayo na magpaliwanag. Nakita niyo ba nandoon ang salitang liwanag? Ang layunin natin ay maliwanagan ang kausap natin. Huwag sanang mauwi ang mga usapan natin sa pag-aaway, kundi ang maliwanagan ang isa't isa. Ngayon kasi kahit sa social media, kapag nagdidiskusyon, ang gusto lang minsan ay makapang-asar, makapang-away, makakuha ng madaming likes at shares. Pero naging dahilan ka ba para maliwanagan ang iba? O lalo mo lang nilagay sa dilim ang kapwa mo? Our goal is to enlighten, not to hate. magpaliwanag at huwag magalit. O Diyos, matuto sana kaming maayos na makipag-usap sa kapwa. Amen.
The Jesuit Hour. Get to know the Jesuits. Discover their spirituality, their history, their ministries. The Jesuit Hour. Anything Jesuit, everything Jesuit. The Jesuit Hour.
Good morning mga Katipuners. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Welcome to our show here at Radio-Katipunan 87.9 FM, the Ateneo Campus Radio. This is the Jesuit Hour, and I'm your host, Father Nono Alfonso, SJ. Yes, ba? May palakpakan pa. Mukhang nagbagong buhay ka na, James. Yan po ang pag-uusapan natin. Today is January 13. Ano ba? Yung bagong mga resolutions nyo ba for the year, naririyan pa o naniniwala pa ba kayo sa mga New Year's resolution? Lalo na ngayong pandemya, uso pa ba yan? Yan, pag-usapan po natin yan. No? Kung mahalaga pa yung mga New Year's resolutions na yan, of course, mahalaga, laging magbagong buhay. But before we begin our discussion and our consultation for free with our international counselor, magdasal muna po tayo. Father or Saint Thomas Aquinas has a beautiful prayer. Yan po ang dadasal natin in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Almighty and ever-living God, I approach the sacrament of your only begotten Son, our Lord Jesus Christ. I come sick to the doctor of life, unclean to the fountain of mercy, blind to the radiance of eternal light, and poor and needy to the Lord of heaven and earth. Lord, in your great generosity, heal my sickness, wash away my sins, enlighten my blindness, enrich my poverty, and clothe my nakedness. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. What a beautiful prayer, of course. What can you expect from Saint Thomas Aquinas? Yes. Okay, so happy New Year. And of course, we say, bagong taon, bagong buhay. Pero of course, nagbabago nga ba tayo? And ang lagi po natin ginagawa, tinuro ito sa atin ng ating mga teachers. Ako naalala ko pa, teachers namin dati, sa high school. Bawat pag the first thing that we do sa moderating class, the first thing that we do pag simula po ng taon, the first meeting, pinapagawa kami ng New Year's resolutions ng aming homeroom class, talagang 1 to 10. 'Di ba? Ano ang inyong mga New Year's resolutions? Yan daw po ang daan para tayo ay makapagbagong buhay. Visualize your goals. So, may listahan dapat para malinaw kung ano ang gusto mo. And in fact, si Saint Ignatius, yan din yung sinasabi lagi, id quod volo. Naks naman, palatin-latin pa si Father. Ano po yan, ang ibig lang sabihin, dapat malinaw ang iyong desire, the desire of your heart. Kailangan linawin mo para kung ano man ang hihingin mo kay Lord, malinaw na na mapagbibigyan ka dahil malinaw ka ring humihingi. 'Yon. So, pero uso pa ba 'yan? Especially during this pandemic. Okay, so let's have our international counselor po, Don't take it from me, take it from her. Yan. Okay, so just to introduce her again, she's based, of course, in Singapore. Yan. She founded the International Counseling and Psychology Center there in Singapore, but of course catering to an international clientele. She has written books, and she was formerly faculty member at the Psychology Department of the Ateneo de Manila University, Loyola School of Theology, and Center for Family Ministries. Friends, please welcome back again ang ating pong kaibigan, si Miss Lissy Puno. Good morning, Liz. Yan.
Hi, Father Nono. Good morning. Happy New Year to you and the radyo-katipunan team. And of course, to all your listeners, happy to be back on our first show together of 2022 on
Yes.
New Year's resolutions.
The last time you were in the program was December. And did we mention that actually you were in the Philippines at that time? I don't think so.
Yes.
We
At
did?
that time, no, Father, at that time, medyo biglaan ang pag-uwi ko sa Pilipinas, pero sobrang saya na, it actually happened. It was a good time, mababa yung mga cases, and so I decided to visit the Philippines once more after 2 years. And it was
Wow.
truly a joy. Lagi akong masaya pag umuwi sa Pilipinas. And I think our last show, hindi natin nasabi that I was actually on my 5th day of quarantine.
At that time, yeah.
Yes, and now, Father, I'm on my 10th day of quarantine.
Oh, so you're back in Singapore and before you can join mainstream society, kailangan mag-quarantine.
Oo, 10 days,
10
Father.
days.
Yeah, so I left the Philippines on the 3rd, and today is my last day of quarantine. So hopefully everything will fall into place.
Before we talk about our topic, New Year's resolution, so just very briefly, what did you do here in the Philippines given the limitations of the pandemic? You cannot really move around. You
Yes.
cannot go places. So what were you able to do or accomplish?
Yes, well, actually, Father, it's just one thing. Spend time with family, family that I have not really seen for more than 2 years. And I guess what's nice about this holiday, no? Kasi biglaan nga yung pag-uwi. Walang regalo, walang pasalubong, walang plano. Pero nangyari. And I hope siguro the others also feel the same as me. And because my parents are, of course, elderly, my main focus was to spend time with them. And of course, because of that, limited yung time spent with friends.
Mhm.
So you have to be very careful these days, especially with the surging cases.
Yeah.
Siyempre, a bit disappointing, no? I think lahat tayo, early December, excited na, wow, mababa na yung cases. And then, nabigla tayo ng January, although with warning
Yeah.
na merong surge that to be expected, hindi lang natin akalain ganito pala kabilis.
Tsaka, swerte pa rin ng mga Pinoy kasi in Europe, Christmas was cancelled, di ba? Because it was during Christmas time that the Omicron virus was spreading around. So, just to update, ngayon daw, laganap na sa Europe. And of course, sa USA, 95% of cases are Omicron. So, swerte pa rin ng mga Pilipino na kapag Pasko tayo, yun lang na Omicron.
Oo nga. But yes, to spend time with family, to enjoy the food that is available,
Yeah.
support, of course, local businesses around us.
Yes,
I think
yes.
it's a joy to still be there in the Philippines.
What about, last question na lang po, what about in Singapore? How is the COVID situation there? How about the Omicron?
Yes, so we still have a few restrictions here. Of course, the number of people gathering, restaurants still close at 10 p.m. And so we still have restrictions, although because we are open to returning residents over the holidays kasi nag-open up yung travel to Europe, to the United States, to certain parts of Asia. Of course, those returning may cases then that's happening here.
Okay. Marami nag-aabang ng ating discussion, Liz. So, New Year's resolutions, because of course, New Year's resolutions are kumbaga the methodology nga for changing one's life. Kasi bagong taon, bagong buhay, gumawa ng mga New Year's resolutions. Is there a consensus among counselors like yourself about New Year's resolution? Do you, when you're asked by your clients, for example, will it help? What do you say?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that, I went back to work on Tuesday, January 4, I mean, online. And, one of the things that I asked my clients would be, what are your high hopes for the new year? But what are also your deepest fears? So
Mm.
I don't actually use the term New Year's resolutions because, as you know, as statistics are telling us, medyo mataas yung rate of the resolutions not being completed, no? So yung success rate at saka yung rate of not being able to achieve it, it's a bit yung yeah, not completing it is a bit high. So does change have to be labeled just a New Year's resolution?
Hmm.
Or can change actually happen, all throughout the year, or goals, planning our goals? So I don't label it New Year's resolutions, but of course, goals, commitments, as simple as something to look forward to might be useful at the beginning of the year.
Okay. What about the business of changing oneself, 'di ba? Changing one's behavior, changing one's mindset. Kasi if you look at the New Year's resolutions, kasi ginagamit ko rin yan for my homilies at the start of the year, at the start of every new year. I've been monitoring yung mga New Year's resolutions across the globe and top 10. May mga top 10 na New Year's resolutions, common resolutions shared by people. And palaging sa top 10, mamaya we'll show, of course, iba yung kay Pope, but that's an example. Sa top 10 laging vices, which is good, di ba? To say that, I will no longer smoke, I will no longer drink alcohol, etc. So vices. Tapos palagi yan, palaging um, fix my relationships, improve on my relationships. Yung mga nakaaway, di ba, mga ganun. So, relationships, palagi yan meron dyan, Ah, tapos, meron ding, of course, yung favorite talaga is health, health, especially yung losing weight. After the Christmas revelries and festivities, ayan, tumaba yung mga tao, palaging ang number one is lose weight. So, yan yung taon-taon na lang sabi ko siyempre ang atake ko sa homily ko. Pero in all these 10 wala man lang spiritual, wala man lang I will spend more time in prayer. Taon-taon na lang, walang ganon. I will pray the rosary more, mga ganon, wala eh. But anyway, my point is um, this attempt to change, 'di ba, one's mindset, isn't that worthwhile, 'di ba?
Yeah, so Father, before that, siguro let me backtrack a little bit to timing, no? Kasi you
Mhm.
mentioned that your first homily of the year
Yes.
is usually about New Year's resolutions. Feeling ko, dahil yan sa emotion na nadadala ng January 1 sa
Mhm.
Jesuits traditional gathering, di ba? Sa JR, January 1, dinner ba yun? Or in the
Recollection.
afternoon?
We
Yeah.
have we have a province recollection every January 1.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
So anyway, so the timing, right? The timing of ringing in the new year on December 31, no? So gusto natin isipin nung pre-COVID, no? And actually meron pang konti this year. Nakapanood ako ng fireworks, right?
Oh, meron
So,
pa.
yeah, so the high of the countdown, no?
Mhm.
The high of the countdown, the emotion of the countdown, merong fireworks, there's music, there's alcohol, being together with family and friends.
Mhm.
We are just so high in the emotion, adrenaline, dopamine, oxytocin, all those feel good emotions in the brain, right? Uh, Being triggered, as you say, 10, 9, 8, the countdown, suddenly biglang you're going to now announce all your New Year's resolution. that I'm going to stop smoking, I'm
Yeah.
going to stop drinking, I'm going to lose weight. So the high of that moment sometimes make us promise or commit
Mm-hmm.
unrealistic goals na hindi natin napag-usapan ng mabuti. Napag-isipan ng mabuti. And so we blurt this out at a moment of high in emotion. And then what happens is, mamaya iisipin natin, kaya ba natin to talagang gawin?
Mm-hmm.
No? Then we are faced with the reality. And so I think I just want us to put it in perspective that high of that emotion makes us commit to unrealistic goals. Kaya baka as time goes on,
Yeah.
no? Now it's already 2 weeks since January 1.
Mm-hmm.
71% na lang ang 71% na lang ang holding on to that commitment. So mabilis ang pagbaba ng success rate.
Mm-hmm. Pero sa akin yun nga, yung that tradition, I find it worthwhile. Parang kapaki-pakinabang siya eh. Kasi um, sa training ko rin like my mother, January 1, we have a store, a grocery sa Naga, no. At 31, December 31 is sarado yung tindahan because inventory. Buong araw 'yan nagbibilang o ilan pa yung stocks mo, etc. And later I would find out that companies really do that. Now I'm heading Jescom and we do that, we take stock. Yun nga, 'di ba? We look back and then try to find out what we still have, 'di ba? And then, 'di ba, create goals from there, 'di ba? So, ito na lang ang natitira sa ating mga stocks. Anong kailangan natin gawin, 'di ba? I think merong mga ganun yung mga companies, 'di ba? Yung goal setting, 'di ba?
Right.
Mga
So-
vision,
so-
mission setting.
Right. So, Father, tama, no? In the beginning of the year, may planning session, may new business, goals, development, and so on, vision, mission. But the difference, Father, with the New Year's resolution is hindi biglaan
Mhm.
or hindi, I don't know if mapusok ba is the right word, not so much of the emotion that drives the resolution. Everyone comes together, and when you say you come to take stock, for me what comes in there is that what comes to mind is there's an element of reflection.
Mhm.
There's an element of slowing down. There's an element of planning. And I think these are the kinds of changes that last. These are the kinds of changes that we can really sustain and manage and go on through the year and see it to fulfillment and para talagang mabuo natin yung resolution ng pagbabago. Usually, yung New Year's resolution na pinag-uusapan natin kanina, by the end of the year, 9% na lang talagang committed to do the New Year's resolution that they did on January 1. So I think it's the quality in which you make the resolution.
Mhm. So you're saying to the question nga na parang how do we keep our New Year's resolutions, 'di ba? The quality of the resolutions matter a lot, So and yung sinasabi mo na parang dapat hindi mapusok, hindi, 'di ba? Kailangan parang strategic din, yung or pinag-isipan, sabi mo nga pinag-isipan yung New Year's resolution. So how do you explain that, Lissy? How do you explain that more? Na some are able to keep their resolutions and some do not. Sabi mo nga, by this time, 71% na lang natitira, and by the end of the year, 9% lang nakasunod. So how do you explain that?
Yung tinatawag natin na all or nothing principle, no? Or all or nothing thinking. Either I'm going to lose 10 kg
Mhm.
or 5 pounds or wag na lang. Right? So all or nothing. Either I'm going to stop cold turkey. Tomorrow din ako maninigarilyo, pero naninigarilyo ka ng 15 years.
Yeah.
Medyo it's hard to break a habit, right? It's hard and it will take time. So, sometimes yung all or nothing principle, this parang grandiose plans, medyo hindi realistic.
Mhm.
And so the minute we feel a little bit of failure or a little bit of hardship or a little bit of challenge, we give up na, wag na lang. No? So all or nothing. So there's so much in between. And what's in between are small steps that are more realistic. So I agree with you. Change, improvement, goals are very important in life because it brings hope, right?
Mhm.
Because we're looking forward to something.
Yeah.
Looking forward to something. So there's something we're hopeful about, and which is so badly needed now in the pandemic, no? Kasi we were so hopeful na wow, bagong buhay na with COVID kasi parang yung cases they were just in the hundreds. Yung pala biglang, tumaas na naman. So we need hope more so now, and we want to be hopeful about things that are realistic and under our control.
Magandang word yun, no? Realistic. Sige nga, let's James, can you show yung suggested New Year's resolution ni Pope Francis? I think he shared this 5 years ago, I think. Matagal na to, no? Pero every year it's being shared as an example of New Year's resolutions. Ayan. So, babasahin ko lang para sa mga medyo hindi na makita masyado yung mga letters. So, for Pope Francis, he suggests that our New Year's resolutions, our list of 10 New Year's resolutions would simulan po natin sa pinaka mababa, no? So, sa pinaka mababa, pati ako parang okay. Number 10 is be happy. Yan, be happy. Number 9 is make it a habit to ask the Lord. May mga paliwanag ito actually Naging sermon na to ng mga pare, Pero self-evident naman. Number 8 is make commitments such as marriage. Ayan, wag matakot, He gave this speech sa World Youth Day sa Brazil, sa mga kabataan. Number 7, befriend those who disagree. Nako, ngayong election year dito sa Pilipinas, mukhang maganda tong advice. Number 6 is stop judging others. Number 5 is, tama yan, stop judging others. Diba? Sabi nga ng isang beauty queen sa Pilipinas, don't judge my brother. He is not a book. Diba? Or don't judge my brother. You are not a judge. Di ba? Pinapatawa lang kita, Lissy.
I think, Father, I have to update myself in showbiz current events.
Hoy, luma na yan. Luma na yan.
Okay.
Kapanahunan mo yan, yung nanalo ng...
Ganon. Okay, Father, I'll look it up nga.
Okay.
Nakalimutan ko na.
Number 5 is meet the poor in the flesh. Ayan. Tama po yan, Na, kailan bawal yan ngayon? Bawal ang face-to-face. Number 4 is choose the more, the more humble. Yes, the more humble purchase. Ito, meron siyang, kasi advocacy, yung Laudato Si, di ba? Environmental. So, simplify. Number 3, make time for others. Yan. Ang ang big example recently si Lissy umuwi to be with her parents. So make time for others. Number 2, finish your meals. Ayan. And number 1, don't gossip. Yan. Sikat na sikat itong listahan na to actually because of that number 1 sa listahan ni Pope Francis kasi lahat tinatamaan dyan, lalo na ang mga Pinoy. Ayan,
Yes.
mga marites, 'di ba? Mga mare, anong latest? Di ba? Mga
Yun pala
marites.
yun. Yun pala yun, Father. I learned something new today. And
Yes.
actually, for a few years, I think this was last year, they were saying, bawal na magchismisan, sabi ni Father Pope Francis. So, this actually list of New Year's resolutions became very popular, no?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and then may certain themes yung certain themes sa list of New Year's resolutions. As you mentioned earlier, usually about health, relationships, work, and
Mm.
habits and vices. And
Yeah.
parang we can also see it here in the list of Pope Francis. But yung number 8 nga make commitments such as marriage. But at the same time, may stop and think and plan and reflect, of course, on the commitments.
Mhm.
No, maraming nahihirapan ngayon to make those commitments. Um,
So, looking at this list of Pope Francis, how would you evaluate as a counselor? Diba? We've been talking about the problem with New Year's resolutions. They're not realistic. They're not doable. What about this list of Pope Francis?
well, I think
Hoy,
with
ayaw mo mag-comment ha. Magagalit yung mga tagahanga ni Pope. Objectively though. So,
No,
yes,
I was
Lissy.
going to say, Father, of course, Father, ikaw dapat mag-comment sa list ni Pope Francis kasi akin yung top 2022 New Year's resolution list. But for me, of course, with the wisdom of Pope Francis, I know that he came up with this list with so much
Mhm.
time in prayer and discernment, and definitely all of us will benefit to at least choose one or two of these resolutions to aspire for.
Alam mo ako, Lissy, maraming nanonood sa atin. But if I knew Pope Francis, this list is for the cardinals around him.
Okay. Nako, ikaw ang you're a better authority to comment on that, on that, if it's
Rem-
directed to the
remember, yes,
clergy.
yes, remember when he was newly ano ba, appointed or elected Pope, in 2013. He was elected March of that year, and December he gave out this 15 illnesses of the Curia addressed to the cardinals working in the Curia, no? So, and then ito yata, nung lumabas ito nung 2015, which still resemble that 15 illnesses. So sabi ko, ano to? Connected pa to dun sa mga ano niya, sa pagkastigo niya sa mga cardinals. Anyway, but it applies, of course. The list applies to everyone from cardinals to ordinary people like us. So ipakita natin yung kay Lissy, and we can talk about how this pandemic has affected even itong tradition natin, hallowed tradition of making New Year's resolutions. So James, pakita mo nga yung from the research of Lissy, the top US New Year's resolutions for 2022. Again, babasahin ko lang mga katipuneros. So, ang pinaka marami let's start from the pinakamaraming gumagawa nitong resolution na to. 48% sabi nila they will exercise more. So, yan yung pinaka malaki, pinaka common. Number 2, it's to eat healthier. Nako, oo. Number 3 is it's to lose weight. Number 4, to spend more time with family and friends. Number 5, to live more economically. Number 6, to spend less time on social media. 7, to reduce stress on the job. Nako, meron ngayong 'di ba, yung resignation pandemic sa US. And finally, to quit smoking. 8 lang pala ito, hindi na siya 10, no? So what can you say about this list, Lissy?
So Father, this is just off the internet, no? So
Mhm.
just wanted to get a quick look at what is the message out there on New Year's resolutions. So again, I emphasize timing, right? You want to remember we are just coming out of the end of the year holidays, no? End of the year holidays, so that there's a lot of eating, there's a lot of reunions, there's a lot of reunions or lack of reunions. There was a lot of maybe drinking and smoking around. And so I feel that the New Year's resolutions that keep coming out, na parang every year medyo pare-pareho lang naman, I feel it comes out of, the nature of the holiday season, where there is an abundance of food, an abundance of drinking, music, celebration, and um, either we are forced to be with family or be with relationships that might not be in a good space, right? Or we are spending time with our families na sobrang saya, and therefore we want more of that, no? So it's either we are faced with relationships that are not in a good place, and that's why a resolution on relationships is always there, and or we have received so much love and care over the holidays that we want to make sure it carries over through the years. But I want to highlight the resolution that focuses on social media. When we make a change about ourselves or commit to a new goal, let's make sure that it is truly for ourselves, for our gain, consistent with the values of who we are as people. Right now, a lot of the New Year's resolutions could be triggered by the curated image of social media. Kung anong ginagawa ng mga ibang tao, social media dictates the New Year's resolutions that we make. And it has to be sincere and authentic and real to who you are as a person.
Oh, that's a very good point. Ano? So it has to be personal talaga.
Yes, yes, and take time. Take time, stop and think, and really ask yourselves a question, no? Rather than making a statement, I will lose weight, rather than a question, what will I gain if I lose weight? What will I lose if I don't lose weight? What will I gain? How will I benefit, right? How will it bring me towards a better space of not only emotional and psychological well-being, but just really as a person, growth, make it an opportunity for growth rather than for competition, right? An opportunity for growth than competition. No?
The way the way people phrase their New Year's resolutions, di ba? May mga nagsasabi that's important as well. Ano, that should be considered. Like when you couch it in a positive way, that's more doable than just saying don't do this, don't do that, di ba? Which is a negative way of constructing it. Ano? Parang yung sinasabi mo, rather than just lose weight, what would you gain in doing so, di ba? So
Right.
does that matter in the language, your terminology, your phraseology, kumbaga?
Yeah. So it is really important to understand the narrative or the story behind the resolution, because it gives it more meaning and purpose. Now, if the narrative is seemingly like punishment or deprivation or revenge, sometimes people, are not as motivated or as excited or as eager to, to fulfill it to the end.
Parang ano, no, like lose weight, di ba? Why do you wanna lose weight? Eh kasi nahihiya ako kasi, di ba? Nahihiya ako, ang taba-taba ako na. Di ba yung ganyan? Uh,
Or,
uh,
or what will I gain? No? A better, cardiovascular
yes.
health or skin tone or energy level.
Kumbaga, you want to lose weight because of health reasons,
Yes.
'di ba? Ako sabi ko sa mga pari namin, lose weight para magkasya tayo sa sa cubicle. Maliliit ang cubicle namin dito eh.
Akala ko para magkasya kayo sa sutana. Sutana.
Hindi, maliliit yung mga ano dito eh. Mga, ano yung mga, what do you call that? Yung seat. Toilet seat. Pag masyado ka mataba, mahirapan ka magkasya.
Well, Father, let's be honest, no, na during this short visit to Manila,
Mhm.
na nagkita tayo, no, which is
Okay.
really one of the good things. Nakita ko ang Radyo Katipunan, nakilala ang team behind Radyo Katipunan.
Mhm.
Hindi naman kayo masyadong tumaba, pero it's a good awareness, weight gain and health. Moving forward, lalo na the community over there is, of course, very important to stay
So,
healthy.
okay, so the narrative behind your goal is important uh, the narrative in connection with your desired New Year's resolution. I-share ko lang ito, Lissy, ako naman, so US yung sa'yo. May nakita ako from UK. Kaya lang, uh, it's published by Country Living. Ayan naman, UK yan, So sabi ko, I don't know how reliable this magazine is. Pero sa kanila, number 1 is lose weight. Number 2 is eat healthier or change diet. Number 3, this is top 10 sa UK in 2022. Get fitter and take more exercise. Number 4, spend more time with family and friends. Number 5, be more aware and take care of mental health. Number 6, sort out finances and cut back spending. Number 7, travel more. I don't think that's possible. Number 8, take up a new hobby, sport, or other interests. Number 9, be more environmentally friendly. And number 10, pareho nang sa US, look for a new job. So ang bago raw dito, kasi they're also observers of what people list down for their New Year's resolutions. Ang bago raw dito yung mental health. And they say that's because of the pandemic.
Yes, I think in the last 2 years, because we were fighting a physical pandemic, a pandemic on our physical health, some awareness, came up that we don't want to start a mental health pandemic, right? And so so there was an awareness on the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic on emotions, on psychological well-being, and so a lot of attention was now focused on mental health due to fear and anxiety, loneliness and isolation, and so much of the uncertainty that people were faced with.
Mm.
You know?
Dati yung pinapauso, I'm sure you have encountered this. Ang pinapauso in terms of goal setting ay yung tinatawag na SMART. Do you find that still relevant? Yung SMART is kailangan yung goal mo ay ano ba yung S? It's
You want the goal to be specific.
specific, yes.
And then the
M
M is measurable.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then ayan, A is achievable,
Right?
R is realistic, and T is time bound.
Yes, yes. So definitely, I still use this as a guide. I think that it is really very difficult to have very grandiose resolutions, no? So using the SMART guideline, no? SMART, no? So sometimes when let's make it as specific as possible. Para alam natin, we know what exactly are we going to do. So rather than saying, I'm going to take a walk every day. Yeah, I think that's one of the more common resolutions. I'm going to take a walk every day versus I'm going to try and do a 15-minute walk inside or outside the home beginning on Monday. No? So at least it's specific, it's a small step, right? That is measurable kasi na-specify natin yung time, 15 minutes. It's achievable,
Mhm.
right? Kasi I think 15 minutes is something that is available to all of us, no? And then yung ating R, no?
Realistic.
Yes, but I also want to add relevant, no?
Relevant. Yes.
Related to a bigger value.
Mhm.
Aside from the R realistic, sometimes it's also important, make it relevant to your life, no?
Mhm.
Or related, relevant to something of a bigger value.
Mhm.
No? And then, of course, time bound, such as I'm going to try this for the month of January.
Mhm.
Pag nagawa ko sa January, tutuloy ko ng February, gagawin ko ng 30 minutes. Or,
Correct.
ay, nako, it didn't work kasi I'm very busy in February. I'm now going to make it 10 minutes na lang. No?
Mhm.
So, time-bound, pero there is an opportunity to tweak it, adjust it, make the resolution work for you. Make the resolution right for you, depending on how the year evolves.
Okay. Merong sumikat na ano rin, libro, Lissy. I think I mentioned this last time nung December, ano, yung Atomic Habits by James Clear. Small changes, big results. I think that's the subtitle. But sinasabi niya na that sometimes targets and goals do not work. Rather, ano, no, instead of focusing on that, focus on your habits. Kumaga sabi niya, because our lives are built on the habits we have formed through the years, di ba? Yung mga tatamad-tamad kasi paggising sa umaga, cellphone ka agad ang tinitingnan. Di ba yung ganon? Yung we are ano raw, we are made up of our habits. What we repeatedly do, that's who we are, di ba? So para sa kanya, it's best to look into that. So the first thing is to look at your life now and pansinin mo, no, notice the habits that make you up, that make up you. So, 'di ba parang sa umaga anong ginagawa mo, parang may mali diyan ano kung if you're not happy with your life, may mga mali no. So, focus on your habits. Oh, what can you say to that?
Father, di ko pa nababasa yung book, but of course I've heard of it. Yeah, I was actually going to add a bit of information about habits, no? Rather than a New Year's resolution that is all or nothing,
Mhm.
either nagawa mo or hindi mo nagawa, I'm not sure if it's this book, no, that says it takes 66 days to create a new habit. Galing ba yun sa libro na yan, Father?
Hindi ko na hindi ko na po maalala. Naalala ko lang kasi parang just change 1% of what you do, it will have an impact on your life,
Right.
'di ba?
So yung isang libro naman na nabasa ko is that it takes 66 days
Wow.
to create a habit.
Mhm.
So rather than think na itong New Year's resolution ay gagawin natin the whole year,
Mhm.
isipin siguro lang natin, I'm gonna try 33 days.
Mhm.
Then after 33 days, parang mas manageable, 66 days. And so until we can create it into a habit, which I think the book says a fully formed habit takes
Mhm.
254 days. No? So siguro, I agree. Let's now take stock of our habits, good
Mhm.
habits, bad habits, healthy habits, unhealthy habits, and let's make a change now, no? And the way I present it to people, Father, if our listeners, mga nakikinig, ay gusto ng isang exercise na makakatulong sa kanilang planning for the year, just choose one thing that you will stop doing because it's
Yeah.
not a healthy habit.
Mhm.
One thing that you're going to start doing because it's a healthy habit. And one thing that you have been doing really well, something that you will continue. So that hindi naman only yung good and bad, I'm sure meron na rin tayong nagagawa that is healthy. So one thing we can stop doing, start doing, and continue doing.
Wow. Meron siyang advice dun sa kanina we mentioned smart. Parang may dagdag siya doon na if you want to introduce change in your habits, for example, yung the new habit that you like exercising, for example, meron siyang meron siyang 4 tips. Number 1 is make it obvious, 'di ba? Make it obvious, ibig sabihin, announce it to the world. Siguro to pressure yourself, But make it obvious, make reminders, 'di ba? Number 2, make it attractive, 'di ba? Uh, Number 3, make it easy. Ito mahalaga to sa kanya, make it easy because if a goal, if a habit you want to introduce into your life is difficult, hindi ka gaganahan na gawin pa yun, And number 4 is make it satisfying, 'di ba? Yun daw yung motivation eh. So, what can you say to that? Yung
Yeah.
kanyang 4 tips.
I like those 4 tips, although yung first one, Father, announce it to the world
Announce
or
it that.
make it obvious,
Uh,
I think there's pros and cons, no? As you said, baka it might create pressure. And
mm,
right now, talagang hindi na natin kailangan ng pressure
Oo nga.
sa ating buhay at sobrang dami na ng pressure from the pandemic. Pero ang view ko dun sa number 1, let other people know,
Mhm.
make it obvious. I think that is to create a support system.
Mhm.
If there's someone cheering for us, I think talagang gaganahan talaga tayo. If there's someone who is pushing for us, they've got our back and they're encouraging us, no? And I think our family and friends would be willing to do that. The second one is make it attractive to you, no?
Yeah.
And for me, what that means is that the internal motivation,
Mhm.
okay, the internal motivation is really more important, no? That there is a personal gain, a positive
Mm.
experience that will emerge from this. And then make it easy.
Yeah.
I think nabanggit na natin to earlier kasi kung sobrang hirap, maybe the chances of disappointment or the
Yeah.
chances of failing is higher, and then sasabihin
Yeah.
natin ayaw na natin, no? So make it easy on yourself. Don't make a promise that is so difficult to keep, no?
Yung example niya sa make it easy, like you will say, I will go to the gym. 'Di ba? Yung gym mo nasa Makati. 'Di ba, nandito ko sa Quezon City. So sobrang traffic. So you are discouraged. So yung sinabi mo nga, just take a walk.
Yeah.
'Di ba? So make it easy.
Nako, Father, I'm guilty of making it, of not following this tip. Kasi when I arrived in Singapore, I said, I'm gonna give up sugar. No, I'm gonna give up sugar. Zero sugar. Nako, medyo imposible ata yan kasi kahit ang ketchup ay
Yeah.
mayroong sugar. So talagang, so pinahirapan ko yung sarili ko. Sinabi ko, nako, zero sugar. So that is so general. I didn't follow my own advice to be smart. And so I need to be specific so that it can be attractive, easy, and satisfying. Definitely satisfying. Father, this is an important point. Don't make a New Year's resolution that is satisfying for someone else. No? I'm going to please other people. I'm going
Yun.
to please my spouse, my parents, my friends, my boss, my coworkers. First, make it for yourself because it is when you feel that it is of value to you that it makes it easier to achieve.
Yeah. And the final point is yun nga, make it satisfying. That's his 4th tip. Yeah. Okay. Maganda yung sinabi niya kasi na it's really the start that's difficult for many people to create new habits. Sabi niya, so the goal is to optimize for ourselves for the starting line and not the finish line. Diba? So yung makapagsimula lang.
Yes. Take that step, no?
Yeah.
Take that first step today. Whatever it is, how small it is, take that step so that you can maybe feel a change, right? You want to be you want to be the change that you want to see, no? So
Mhm.
start somewhere. start today. And I encourage people, especially now that maybe we have time to really think about what we'd like 2022. Kasi everyone was saying, Father, that wow, 2021 parang bula, no? Parang nawala.
Mhm.
2021 went by like a
Yeah.
blur na hindi man natin naramdaman. And so slowing down, taking time, stop and take stock of last year, what worked, what didn't work, and what we would like to do for 2022, something to stop, start, and continue doing.
Wow, ang ganda nun, ano? I think people should realize that this pandemic is really life-changing, and therefore, if you want to start the year with New Year's resolutions, you have to take that into consideration. For example, halimbawa, yung sa mga eskwelahan, their goal was to have face-to-face na. Biglang nagka-Omicron. So, for example, Ateneo, na push back yung start of the semester. Yay! So ano na, January 31 na from January 24. So anyway, the point is, yun nga how do you, it's a moving target, Lissy, ano, sabi nga nila, di ba? Or moving goal, ano, yung itong pandemic na to, ano. So, you plan something and yet something else will happen. So, can you really make goals, targets, given this pandemic?
Yes, yes. So, tama yan, Father Nono, no? Ako, nagplanong umuwi sa Pilipinas yung quarantine 3 days. The next day, naging 5 days. No? So, ang bilis, ang daming nagbabago.
Yeah.
No? And not only in many areas of our lives. And that's why I want to encourage our listeners. You know yourself best. No? Kailangan nyo ba ngayon ng, is this a time to make a resolution when there's so many changes happening around us? No? And actually this morning I had a conversation with someone who said, I am not going to make any resolution so that I am not disappointed. No? If you're not expecting something, you will not be disappointed. But having said that, we also want to be also hopeful in spite of that. So because of the pandemic situation, I think not everyone can take a change because there's already so many changes imposed by the pandemic.
Yeah.
Environmental, economical, social, psychological. Parang ang dami na, sobra na. So, kailangan pa ba natin ng change? Kayo lang ang makakaalam na niyan. You know yourself best. Will a New Year's resolution or any change be a challenge for you or a pressure? No? And, a challenge to achieve something positive or a pressure to push you into despair. So, you know yourself. So, please decide accordingly that kung hindi ngayon ang panahon para gumawa ng resolution dahil sa Omicron, meron parang hope that March or June, maybe things will be better. Maybe we can have a New Year's resolution in March or in June.
Yun.
Hindi naman kailangan January 1.
That's a very good point, ano. Sinasabi mo, Lissy, na parang given this pandemic, we don't need more pressures in our lives, di ba? So, early on in this pandemic, ano, like yung isang Jesuit educator, sinabi nga na yung advice niya sa university, instead of 100% goal for our students, parang 50% na lang, babaan na lang yung mga expectations. So, 'di ba, yung lahat na lang pinasa because of the pressure, 'di ba? Yung we have to help one another to survive this pandemic, and giving burden is not helpful.
Right. And another thing I want to add that is that to that is that we are all trying our best. Everyone is trying their best. And I think we want to acknowledge this and really affirm everyone. Na, as I said earlier, instead of the all or nothing principle, dahil sa pressure of the pandemic at maraming pagbabago, mas mabuti, Father, yung image of fluidity, yung
Mhm.
water, no? Let's go with the flow of what comes our way. Let's try to cope the best way we can, and of course, emerge in a way that we can be healthy and safe and secure during this time of uncertainty.
What would be your advice to parents vis-a-vis New Year's resolutions for their kids? Kasi yun nga, dati yung mga magulang involved din dyan eh. Parang, nakagawa ka naman anak, what's your New Year's? Tinatanong ng mga magulang, what's your New Year's resolution? Diba? I'll check on you in March. Diba? So, what is your advice to
Well,
parents?
for me is let's not force our
Mhm.
children. Let us not impose New Year's resolutions on them. Kung kaya natin kung tayo gusto natin gumawa ng New Year's resolutions, well, let's be a model to them and hopefully guide and inspire them to follow suit. Instead of, expecting them to come up with your New Year's resolution, why not come up with a family visioning? No,
Wow.
this is one of the tools and skills na tinuro ni Father Ruben before
Mhm.
with families, no? So a family visioning session, you all
Mhm.
come together. Let's keep it simple, no, to the parents who are listening to us, even just around the dinner table,
Mhm.
for all of us to be a joyful and happy, cooperative family. What is one thing that we can stop doing for each other, start doing for each other, and continue doing for each other? Sana family visioning rather
Mhm.
than maybe an individual New Year's resolution, or each one think of their New Year's resolution and then to share it within the family system. So, parang family New Year's resolution.
Oy, ang ganda niyan.
Para
Okay.
hindi naman ma-pressure yung mga bata kasi
Oo.
marami na silang disappointment na na-cancel na naman yung face-to-face
Oo.
school, no? And so, let's give them space to really just come to realize what they are feeling as they start 2022 with this news.
Okay, with that, we thank you, Lissy, and we bid you good luck sa yung last day of quarantine.
I can't wait, Father, na maka-step out of my home and be with the environment, of course, in a safe way, following all safety protocols, which I wish for all your listeners health and safety at this time. Happy New Year to all.
Happy New Year. Thank you so much. Until February, no? February, we can talk about something that you have specialized on, which is love.
I look forward to that, Father.
Okay. Maraming salamat, Liz. Bye-bye.
Bye. Take care, everyone.
Okay, so yan po si Lissy Puno, ang ating counselor, and we wish him luck and prayers dahil nasa quarantine pa siya. Miss niya na ang kanyang family. She's back in Singapore. Hanggang sa susunod po, mga katipuners, we'll see you again Tuesday next week. This has been the Jesuit Hour. Sana po may natutunan kayo ngayon. Hanggang next week, ito po si Father Nono, nagsasabing, have a happy lunch, everyone. Bye-bye!
The Jesuit Hour. Get to know the Jesuits. Discover their spirituality, their history, their ministries. The Jesuit Hour. Anything Jesuit, everything Jesuit. The Jesuit Hour. Radyo-katipunan. News, insights, inspiration. Radyo-katipunan. Down from the hill and down to the world. Radyo-katipunan. the voice of the Blue Eagle. Radyo Katipunan is now online. See our live feed on facebook.com/Radyo Katipunan. Check out our Instagram and our Twitter at Radyo Katipunan and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Radyo Katipunan FM for more exclusive content. Radyo Katipunan. News, insights, inspiration. Radyo Katipunan. Down from the hill